Hello, everyone, and welcome to Paranormal Archaeology.
Hello, ghosts and ghouls, and welcome to another episode of Paranormal Archaeology. Ooh, spooky edition. I know I have a shitty intro. Deal with it. All right. Hi, welcome back. It's been a really long time, but I have something really fun to talk about because I feel like talking about it. Honestly, I'm a little burned out on my other projects, so I thought let's do something fun. So it's recently come to my attention that a project that kind of shaped, I would say, kind of shaped internet creepypasta, if one will, has recently relaunched, and I'm very excited about it. Kind of a found footage project on the YouTubes. This project's probably started, well, according to the video stamps, 14 to 15 years ago. So back when yours truly was a wee little thing. Back when YouTube was just a wee little thing, right? So this particular project is kind of a groundbreaking use of YouTube. And recently they have restarted their project using a similar format, but re-embracing the concept of the found footage on YouTube, which, by the way, I think is fucking brilliant. But let's talk about this from the perspective of archaeology. Now, we do paranormal archaeology over here, yes. So we're going to talk about the paranormal-ish aspects of these YouTube videos that we are going to watch. And we are going to watch, I think we're going to make it through all of them, honestly, because none of them are terribly long. Now, there are a number of them, but I think the longest of them is maybe 5 minutes, maybe. So this probably will end up being a multi-part series, obviously. But I am also going to try to pull in some... I want to try to pull in some historical information and just like some interesting articles that I have found through Academia EDU. There's some articles on JSTOR, which I can also find on other sources where I don't have to, give my right kidney in order to read them and other things like that. I just want to really look at this phenomena that has really kind of defined, well, creepypasta, if one will. And I think we all probably, if you haven't figured out what I'm getting ready to talk about at this point, we're going to talk about Slender Man, because there's a little place in my heart for Slender Man, because I'm old enough to remember the formation of Slender Man, the creation of Slender Man, the introduction of Slender Man upon the internet back in the ye old years of 2009. I'm old. But I want to talk about that. And the main reason I want to do that is because the creators of a lovely channel, once referred to as Marble Hornets, it's still up, they are creating a new series that they are calling Rosswood. And if you remember Marble Hornets, Rosswood was a location within Marble Hornets. So not only are they creating a new series, but they're expanding on the Marble Hornets universe. Ooh. How this plays into paranormal archaeology? Well, all right, follow me on this one. It's a little loose. We're playing a little loose on the rules here. Paranormal archaeology looks at how people interact with objects and spaces once they deem those spaces to have become paranormal in some way. They're haunted. They're supernatural, they're imbued with some kind of divine influence, right? And that will influence how even non-believers will interact with a space or an object, right? Even if I don't believe that something is haunted or paranormal, I'm still going to interact with it differently once you tell me that it's haunted, right? If you tell me that, I don't know, this roll of tape, if you just tell me it's a roll of tape, I'm going to be like, cool, roll of tape, whatever. Now that you tell me that this is a haunted roll of tape, This roll of tape is made up of spirit gum, like literal spirits made into gum. And that's why it works. It's not actual whatever the hell it is that makes tape stick. now I'm going to interact with it differently. I'm either going to be like, ooh, really? Ooh, ghost tape. Or I'm going to be like, no, that's not how that works. Now I'm going to go out of my way to explain to you why this tape is not actually haunted. Would I have done that otherwise? No, that's what I'm talking about. Even skeptics are going to interact with paranormal objects and cat hair differently than they would interact with a non-paranormal object, right? So this does affect everybody interacting with an object, right? As soon as we've deemed it to be paranormal. And anything touched by human hands, human thoughts, just human, is considered an artifact. And that, my friends, extends to the internet. Which would be, well, YouTube. There's plenty, absolutely plenty of archaeology, of YouTube, of media. There's plenty of anthropology of YouTube and the media specifically. So this is not new whatsoever, what I'm getting ready to embark upon. And neither is what I'm getting ready to do very formal. But it is very interesting to me, and I will be trying to apply some concepts and stuff to it as we go forward. Much more formal than my other channels. So if you watch my other channel, don't tell me if you do. That being said, Marble Hornets, this is not the Marble Hornets channel that we're going to watch right first. We are going to watch another channel that I've discovered because I just absolutely adore it. This is the Sarahnormal Activity channel. Sarahnormal Activity typically goes over various reviews of movies and that kind of stuff. I find it fascinating. If you like horror and that kind of stuff, you will also find this fascinating. I love watching people go over horror movies and horror games. I love that stuff. That's my background noise 90% of the time, because that unboxing videos and videos about miniatures. There's this one guy who does unballing videos of those mini brands. Dude, I can watch that guy all damn day, but that is unrelated to what we're talking about. Anyway, the Sarahnormal Activity, about 7 days ago today, today being September the 18th, this video was posted on September the 11th. She posted this video. This is Marble Hornets recap and Rosswood 1 and 2. Rosswood being the new series being put out by the creators of Marble Hornets recap. Now remember, when Marble Hornets was originally posted, it was put out as a found footage style series of videos. And some people, because keep in mind, this was again 14 to 15 years ago. I think the earliest video is 15 years old. We'll double check. It's somewhere between 14 and 15 years. We'll check when we get back over to their channel. Some people kind of thought maybe it was real. There were some questions about if this was real or not, because found footage films were newish, ish. Don't come for me, newish. And these kind of things were kind of new-ish on YouTube as well. YouTube was still, well, it was 15 years ago. So there you go. So also when we go to watch these, please keep in mind, these are 15 years old. And at the time they were being put together by film students. They were film students pretending to be film students. So let's not be rude, shall we? Keep in mind, Marble Hornets was and does still have kind of a cult following, because it's actually pretty genius, right? But that's kind of the shtick. Some people were questioning if these were real. Was this really happening? Were these really found footage? Obviously, as these videos and time goes by, we know better now. But the concept of Slender Man is an interesting concept. And these videos, the Marble Hornets videos, play off of the Slender Man mythos, because they did not create Slender Man. I believe they refer to him as the operator. They did not create that concept. That concept was actually created on Creepypasta. And I'm going to pull up a clip that I found, I know, on one of the most reliable sites on the interwebs. I will try to have links to everything that I have used in the description down below. So if you're interested in looking at the resources that I use, please go down there. Everything's going to probably be internet based. So there you go. This particular little paragraph that I'm wanting to read to you guys here, this is coming off of a site called Fandom. This is the Creepypasta Fandom, also known as the Creepypasta Files Wiki. I go here a lot just for random different fandoms. I don't know a whole lot about the site, but I do know that it's usually accurate within a certain range. So bear with me. The Creepypasta site itself does still exist. It obviously doesn't look anything like it did back in 2009. This, I think, is the Slender Man archives going all the way back. I will link this. I did not use this site. But I think if you go here, this is, entries and stuff onto Creepypasta. It should be entries and stuff on Creepypasta about Slender Man. I did not use this particular site as a reference because I don't know how to navigate that site. And I'm just letting you guys know that ahead of time why I didn't use that site. So this one I do know how to navigate, which is why I used it. Now, according to the fandom wiki, this says on June 8th, 2009, there was a Photoshop contest. Remember Photoshop? Photoshop existed before filters. There was a Photoshop contest to create spooky photos, basically, as to create paranormal looking photos and then to place them on regular sites and basically try to pass them off as paranormal-esque videos. And a particular user, they put his name in here. Where did it go? A particular user by the name of Victor Surge, his real name is up here, created 2 black and white photographs with a variety of unnamed children and a short description of Slender Man, a mysterious creature who stalked the children. And we'll see a picture of one of those in a second when we go to watch the video here. So that is the origin of Slender Man. That is the known origin of Slender Man, right? Sarahnormal is going to give us a little bit more in-depth origin about the timeline of that post, the original post of the Slender Man pictures on June 8th, and the beginning of the Marble Hornets found footage videos. The timeline's really important because Marble Hornets really jumped onto the Slender Man train before a lot of other media resources did. And because I think that they did that, and because of the way that they chose to present their media, A, they used YouTube, B, it was this kind of really interesting found footage style. They came off very amateurish, but it was relatable, kind of a relatable amateur kind of thing. Remember, this is 15 years ago on YouTube. Everybody was walking around with their look, they were good cameras at the time. All right. We're all walking around with our shit cameras, making our shit videos, posting them on YouTube for our friends. We weren't trying to it's not like today. We weren't making these style videos back then. All right. And I think because of that, the videos were very relatable. People could really kind of click with them. And there was just this air of mystique. And again, there was that whole, is this real? Or is this really, really happening? Is this what's really, is this something that is actually happening? And then, of course, if you're aware that Slender Man is, of course, a creepypasta creation, you were probably in on the joke pretty fast. But some of us didn't know right off the bat. And we had to, figure it out, right? And that was kind of the fun of it. And then it creates, again, that cult following where you're part of the in-joke, you're part of the mystery. There's a lot of cult following around the Marble Hornets storyline and concept. But anyway, we're not going to watch this entire video by the Sarahnormal Activity because she does go into recapping Rosswood episodes 1 and 2. We just want the Marble Hornets recap. Now, if you've never watched Marble Hornets and you'd want to, I'm going to timestamp this video so that you can skip this part because we are going to watch all of the Marble Hornets videos together, or you can just skip this video altogether, go watch the Marble Hornets videos yourselves, and then come back and watch this video. Otherwise, you're going to have some spoilers. from here on out, and that's your warning. So if you keep watching at this point and something gets spoiled for you, I'm sorry, you've been warned. So let's go ahead and watch Sarahnormal's recap of Marble Hornets, get a little bit of a history lesson about Marble Hornets, and then we will jump over to the actual Marble Hornets YouTube channel, and we will begin our watching of Marble Hornets, looking at it as a video archive and as video artifacts, because at this point we are looking at Marble Hornets artifactually. I'm making up words. But we're looking at it from the future, from the modern era, as an object of the past, right? And we are looking at it as an object of paranormal interest, because whether or not the videos themselves are haunted, I'm sure I can find someone who will argue that they are, but whether or not they are or not, they are trying to invoke that sense, right? They're trying to invoke the sense that if the video, let's remove the fact that these are fictional. They are trying to portray videos that are not fictional, that are indeed showing supernatural occurrences, if not the film itself being supernatural in nature, right? So that's how we're going to be looking at these when we get over there. But let's hear Sarah talk about the recap of Marble Hornets, because I think she did a really great job of it. And when I watched this on her channel, I was like, yep, that's what I want to do. And now we're going to do it. So here we go. I do not have her sped up. I'm going to have her at normal time because these videos are going to take however long they're going to take. So there we go.
Hey everybody, welcome to the Sarahnormal Activity. I'm Sarah, I'm by myself right now, and I'm talking about something that I'm kind of excited about. Marble Hornets, which you may or may not know about, they're back. If you know what Marble Hornets is, you can jump to, I'm going to have a chapter where I start talking about Rosswood. You can just jump to that because I'm going to talk about Marble Hornets for a minute. For anybody who doesn't know what it is, I'll talk to you about it because I'm just excited. I think it's great. I just rewatched it. It's long. So let me actually tell you what it is. Marble Hornets is a YouTube series. There are 133 episodes. 87 of those episodes are entries that are from the Marble Hornets universe. And then there is a companion piece called ToTheArk that is more of the ARG part of the story. And it's just sort of a different energy, and it's really more information via like video glitches and audio glitches. That's
when we get to that part of the video, or the videos, when we get to that part, there's another concepts. There are other concepts I want to talk about when we get to those parts as well, because there's another creator who I watch who has talked about similar style videos and the atmosphere and emotions that they try to invoke as well. And I think that'll also be an interesting thing to talk about as far as like interaction with paranormal invoking style video as well, but we'll talk about that when we get to it. It will be a while before we get there. Though there are 188 or almost 200 videos, like I said at the beginning, they're not long videos. Like I think some of these videos are like less than a minute. Some of them I think are less than 30 seconds. So yes, there are a lot of them, but some of them are incredibly brief and some of them are a little bit longer than others, but
really the best way I can describe it. I'll drop a little piece of it in here.
These are the newer ones she's talking about here.
Marble.
Those videos will also be a really good time to talk about the subculture that kind of grew around Marble Hornets, the Marble Hornets videos and the Marble Hornets universe. That'll be an excellent time to kind of talk about that subculture that grew around it. Marble Hornets used to be something that like you just heard about, right? Everybody talked about it. Well, okay, everybody within a certain circle talked about it, right? It was a phenomena, right? And so having a little subculture like that, I think there were even like, I'm almost 90% sure there are like fan fictions and fan art and fan sites that just kind of sprung up around Marble Hornets. There's like role play and that kind of stuff, which is very typical for these kind of things on the internet. And I think that's something to also would be worthwhile talking about after we get through the original set of videos. So keep an eye out for that as well.
Hornets is the name of a film that a group of film students were making.
Doesn't really matter, does it? He left me when he went off to the city, and that's that.
Yeah, I guess you're right. So, I mean, what's the plan now for you? What's next?
I'm not really gonna do anything.
We're gonna do it again. The pacing still feels weird. It doesn't sound like a conversation. You guys still sound like you're reading off of the script.
This is in the story. 3 film students, Troy Wagner, Joseph DeLang, and Tim Sutton are the actual students. In universe, they're Alex, Jay, and Tim. They're making a movie. Alex is writing and directing a movie called Marble Hornets, and he abandons it after a couple of months. He starts to get paranoid and violent, and he just leaves the project and kind of disappears. Jay is a person who worked on the project who, I don't know, he was just interested. So he went back and found Alex, tracked Alex down and found his footage because he just didn't want to like lose the footage of the project. And he started going through it, and he's uploading little pieces, entries. I'm calling them episodes, but they're entries. He's trying to solve a mystery. And the mystery is what is happening to the cast. What happens in the second episode, it's just a 45-second piece, but it's just footage shot out the window. It's at night, and on the front porch, shaky footage, we see the operator.
There he is. Slender Man. I don't think I said that right. Don't come for me.
It's Slender Man. It's a very, it's like 8-foot tall creature with just a completely white, faceless head and a black suit. He was created
I think this is one of the original Slender Man videos. Obviously, there's Slender Man there.
This cryptid was created in the Something Awful forums.
And this is one of the original photos. And again, obviously, there's Slender Man there.
By a person named Eric Knudsen. And Marble Hornets started this project in 2009, 10 days after Slender Man was created. So they jumped on it.
I think that's what I wanted you guys to hear most importantly, was how quickly Marble Hornets got on the Slender Man train after the pictures got posted. Now, I'm sure, and I'm going to do my damnedest to find interviews and stuff with these guys, because obviously they made another set of videos here. I want to know, and I'm sure I can find it. It's just going to take me a minute. I want to know why they got on it so fast. Like why they saw those 2 pictures and they were like, yes, found footage video, this thing hunting us down. Yes, doing it. I just think I just kind of want to know the creative process behind it. But again, kind of going back to the concept of haunted media. Remember, this is all fictional. Okay, this is all fictional. There is modern news reports of children mostly who believe Slender Man is real. If we go back to the fanfiction site, the Creepypasta Files here on the wiki, it does mention back in 2014, there were 2 12-year-old girls who were influenced by Slender Man to perform the ending of another girl because of Slender Man. I feel like I think that's the most severe case of people being influenced by Slender Man, but it's not the only time that I've heard of people believing that Slender Man is real. And I'm sure Slender Man isn't the only internet creation that has become an urban myth, right? I'm sure I can't think of anything because I don't honestly follow it that closely, but I do know that Slender Man has kind of taken on a life of its own. It has had movies made about it. I think it had a television series. I may need to double check that one. Or it has at least been included in references within horror television shows. And I know it's in video games because I've seen it. Just references and stuff, things like that. So it has definitely taken on a life of its own, right? And boy, I hope the dude who created those pictures, I hope he got a slice of his pie, because can you imagine the kick in the nuts that is? That being said, the idea of those two pictures being parts of media, because they're photoshopped images, right? And having people to see those two images and run with them and being like, yes, there is a creepy creature in here. I can see the monster in it. I'm gonna start creating an entire universe around this thing, right? And it's not the guy that created it. The guy who created it made these two images. Everybody else is just kind of running with it. Marble Hornets is not the guy that created it. This creates the concept of like the imbued photo, right? So now we can go back and we can look at those two photos, because we just did. And we see these images and we, the observers, are like, ooh, spooky, right? Ooh, Slender Man. Ooh, the origin of Slender Man. Ooh, it's still fake. He's not real, but we still get that little bit of a rush. Ooh, ooh, you know? That's kind of the concept of an imbued photo, right? If it was just a picture and I didn't even know what I was looking at and I knew nothing about this, it wouldn't hit the same, right? And that's kind of the same sensation that I think people get when they have a haunted photograph. They see an image of a ghost. It's the seeing something that's not there, the being part of the in-group that can identify the spookiness, right? Identify the paranormal object within the normal image, right? Because anybody else who doesn't know what they're looking at might not even realize they're looking at it. Well, maybe the first one's kind of obvious, but the second one's a little harder to see, a little harder to notice right off the bat, right? You kind of have to look to see the tentacles. And then you're kind of like, what the hell's going on? Well, the rest of us are like, ooh, that's Slender Man. Ooh. And she'll talk about here later about how in the original Marble Hornets videos that they kind of slip Slender Man in there and you got to kind of look for him. But when you see him, you see him. It's kind of like a Where's Waldo kind of a thing going on. It creates a sensation that the videos themselves, the little entries themselves, are haunted. That the video on YouTube, that it itself is paranormal in nature, right? And so we, the viewers, are interacting with that video differently than my unboxing videos, right? I'm going to interact with the Marble Hornets videos than I'm going to interact with my unboxing videos, right? I can watch people unbox makeup all day long, but the Marble Hornets videos, I'm going to watch that son of a bitch, right? Kind of a thing.
They really are the first of it. They are the first people who like started the whole project. And it is wonderful. It is the essence of analog horror. It is the essence of ARGs. It's a series of short videos, entries of different lengths, 45 seconds to 14 minutes. And you really just see the degeneration of their psyche. They lose time. They lose their memories. One character realizes that he's been putting on a mask and breaking into people's houses. One of them wakes up 7 months later with no memory of what happened in a hotel. Like it's creepy. There's a lot that happens. There is no storyline. It's just these fever dream moments and visual storytelling. There are through lines where they're trying to find people and new characters are introduced. But for the most part, it really is just, it just draws you through. And in the background is the operator. Whenever he's nearby, there's like an audio glitch, which I love because it's like,
happened? Just stabbed me. You broke his leg with a block of cement. I could have done worse, and I probably should.
It's like Silent Hill with a radio. When there's like a zombie or like a creature nearby, it starts to like crackle, and you get that like. It really does. Like I do physically react, and it's very cool. It looks very cool. It sounds very cool, and we see people sort of start slowly lose their mind. Alex, disappears. There's a lot of drawings. There's a symbol of a circle with an X through it or a plus, depending on how you're holding the paper. And those symbols are associated with Slender Man. So Tim is one of the cast members. We find out that he spent at least part of his childhood in a mental hospital. And he doesn't know why. No one told him specifically why, but he says something about hallucinations and violent outbursts. And he's given medication that helps him with his hallucinations. He eventually starts sharing that medicine with Jay and another woman that they meet along the way, who have all been affected by the operator. We never really find out what's in those pills. It's just pills, and it helps them not cough. It's not my favorite element of Marble Hornets is that there's just a mysterious medication.
We'll talk about, when we're watching the videos, we'll talk about various aspects inside the videos themselves. Like we will talk about the material culture inside of the videos. The pills will be obviously one of the things that we'll hit on, among other things, because, there's symbols within the videos that are going to be important to the operator, aka Slender Man. Yes, he's very slender. Among other things, because those details will also be important, but also keep in mind that these, again, are from, back in 2009. So it will also help us place or date, I guess, these videos within a certain cultural time period as well. And that is also important, just looking at things both archaeologically and anthropologically, because that's what we do. We need to know time periods. We need to know cultural periods, especially when we're looking at things from the modern era and we're looking at the past. Because again, we cannot judge the past by the future. It's a foreign country. They do things differently then. So that kind of a thing. But it's also just interesting to look at what the people who were putting these films, these clips together, what objects and what forms of material culture they were using to help tell the story visually, because we're working with video here and also audio. So they're going to be using certain like audio cues, like she was talking about with the audio glitching, and they're going to be using certain visual cues to help tell story without having to browbeat us with it and spoon feed it to us, because that loses the realness of the story. Like, if you're living your day-to-day life, people are not walking up to you and spoon feeding you, hey, there's a yellow car over there. You just see the yellow car. There's a yellow car over there with black and white striping. Therefore, that is a taxi, and the taxi will take you places if you go over there and ask the guy to take you places. Nobody's doing that. You just know the yellow car with the black and white stripes. I don't even know if we do that anymore. But the yellow car is a taxi, and the taxi will take you places, right? And you have to pay the taxi driver to take you to the places you want to go. You just know that. So if in a visual story, in a video, if I have a taxi sitting on a corner, you know what the taxi is. I don't have to explain it to you, right? It's that kind of a thing. So it'll be interesting to see what kind of visual cues and what kind of audio cues the Marble Hornets directors, creators, are going to use to tell the story to us, the audience, without having to browbeat us over it. Especially considering Slender Man is only 10 days old when they start making these videos. So not a lot of people outside of the creepypasta know who this is, which makes it extra fun. Of course, now, again, 15 years later, most people know, at least have heard Slender Man. So they know it exists. They may not know all of the lore, and there's so much more lore nowadays about Slender Man. Like, he's completely taken on a life of its own. Sometimes some people think for reals. But that's kind of the point. We're going to go back and we're going to look at the origins of Slender Man, kind of a thing. But anyway.
We don't know if they're getting it from like a legitimate source, or if it's like an actual doctor, or if there's just like some dude who like knows what's going on and he has a formula or something. If that is the case, I would have loved to see that. But that's just me being petty. It's very good. Otherwise, it's very good. So yeah, this is really, and it's really the beauty of Marble Hornets, and it's the beauty of analog horror, is you have to like, you get the glitch and you know, it's like, oh, I know he's in the background somewhere. This is like the beauty of Marble Hornets, is that they train their audience on how to like watch very carefully. They teach you to like, they have their audience trained to stop and pause and slow things down and comb the background and find the sniper. You know what I mean? And that's genius. When most of us are enjoying a minimum of 2 screens at a time, which I totally understand. If this right now is playing in like the background,
I don't know what you're talking about. I'll be right back. And we're back.
while you're doing something else, I get it. Same. You know, that's just like it's genius. It's genius. And it is very exciting. There's something so cool about having to engage with material in that way. Like it's a puzzle. Overall,
there's another thing I want to look at when we're halfway through or are done with this, talking about puzzles and engaging with videos. There's a book out called Strange Houses, and I just happened to stumble upon it while I was at the bookstore the other day, just killing time. Anyway, I do that, you know, go to bookstores and slaughter time. Anyhow, the point is, the name of that book was called Strange Houses, and it's based on another YouTube channel, Ukitsu? Not saying it right. Anyway, apparently, I haven't checked this out yet, but apparently the guy puts up puzzles on his YouTube channel, and he kind of like walks you through strange houses where murders have occurred, and he gives you information on how to solve these strange murders within these houses. And there's like a whole book, and I love puzzle books. I have an entire book of Myrtles. So I need to go finish it so that I can buy the next book of Myrtles. So I've got the first one. I want to get the second one. Anyway, my point is, I think that kind of concept is neat. And this is maybe along the same lines, like you're invited to try to solve the mystery of Marble Hornets and of Slender Man by watching these entries that have been left behind on the YouTube. Because it's not a visual novel so much. It's not like today's thing where you're watching a story. You were being given information and you were being invited to interact with the videos so that you could try to solve the story along with whoever it was who was posting the videos. Because I believe we didn't know at the time who was posting the videos. Like, how were the videos getting posted? Who was Marble Hornets, right? There was just a channel. Somebody was posting these videos. Again, this goes back to the paranormal-esque-ness of the actual YouTube video itself. Like, who's posting these videos? How are these even getting onto YouTube, right? So we'll beat that drum when we get to it as well. But yeah, the Strange Houses book, I thought that might be kind of interesting to go and check out that channel as well. And there's some other channels that are similar to that where they present puzzles for you, the viewer, to kind of chew over and solve. And I find that to be an interesting use of YouTube media on top of, you know, because it's different than, ooh, watch me take shit out of a box. Watch me use an object. Watch me consume something. Watch me, I don't know, cook. Do any number of things. Watch me be a talking head and review a video. I'm not calling myself out. Anyway.
all the performances are really green, but it's 1000% forgiven for me. They're young. They're making something for the first time. There are at least 2 or 3 scenes that take place in like someone's dorm room, and I'm like, I love it. I love it so much that it's in someone's dorm room, that it's like, yes, there are so many ideas that people have that they just never act on. And just seeing like young green people just jumping on an idea and running with it and dedicating to it. It's so awesome. And I love it. I love it and I support it and I love it. That's how I feel about it. Yeah. And the only other thing I'll say about it before we move on to Rosswood is ToTheArk, which is, it's a companion piece to Marble Hornets. We never really find out who it is that's uploading, but I think the common consensus is that it's a group of people, that one of the cast is one of the people uploading to that channel. And yeah, and it's just, they are like, they're all, everything is told through glitching. Everything is told in flashes. It's really fun. It's really cool. I think I already mentioned it, but I just wanted to make sure I talked about it here. So much of it is visual storytelling that the lack of acting chops doesn't really bother me. It's so visual and you're so ready for something to happen. You're so braced for the next terrifying moment. You don't even think about it. In entry number 31, they start talking about Rosswood. Rosswood is a hospital that burned down, and it is the hospital where Tim was a patient, which brings us to Rosswood.
We are going to stop there. Maybe we'll get around to Rosswood at some point, possibly. But now we are going to focus on Marble Hornets. But this was Sarahnormal Activity, or the Sarahnormal Activity channel. Again, this will be linked down below. If you want to go and watch the whole video, please do. Give it a like. Let her know I sent you. And because I need the likes. No, I'm kidding. But do let her know I sent you. And I don't know, if you like her channel, give it a like. I think that's going to be enough for this first intro video. I will have a link to the Marble Hornets YouTube channel in the description down below as well, just so everybody can kind of get caught up, or we can all study together. I'll have some other links down there for things that I have not talked about yet, if you guys just want to look at some resources that we will be using going forward. And I don't know, I'm trying to think of something else, anything else that needs to be said. I don't think so. So if you've made it this far in the video, go ahead and leave I don't think there's a hornet, but I think there's a bee. Go ahead and leave a bee down in the comment section down below if you don't want to leave a comment. Let me know if you guys ever, this is from 2009. How many of you remember Marble Hornets from back when it very first started coming out? What did you think? Did you know who Slender Man was? Again, remember, this started 10 days after Slender Man was created. So did you know who Slender Man was when you started watching Marble Hornets? How many of you started watching Marble Hornets after it had already been out for several months? Because it ran for like, I want to say like 2 years or something like that. 2 or 3 years. But we'll find out when we get over to the actual channel. So let me know, did you watch Marble Hornets? Did you watch the whole thing? Did you watch all of Marble Hornets? Were you part of the fandom of Marble Hornets? Did you know who Slender Man was before you started watching Marble Hornets? Did you learn who Slender Man was after Marble Hornets? Was that your introduction to Slender Man? Do you do creepypasta? How many people do creepypasta? How many people are still a part of creepypasta? Kind of a thing. And I think that's all I've got for you guys. This is just our start of this. I think as we go further in, we'll start having some more, like, I don't know, maybe some guided discussion about things. Pretend to be a little bit more, more put together, more academic than we typically are. But yeah, again, if you're this has been working out on other places, when you leave a comment, leave a timestamp for me, just because I will forget between now and when you comment what we're talking about. So just leave a timestamp so that I can click on it and figure out what the hell we were talking about at the time that you're commenting. And that's pretty much all I've got for you guys. So thank you for everybody who's been supporting the channel. Thank you to the subscribers. And I will see everybody when we start watching Marble Hornets together. So I hope you guys enjoy that. And I'll see you guys later. Bye!